What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So, Nick, this main event this past weekend, Thiago Santos, Johnny Walker, everybody expected this to be a banger. Most did not expect it would go the distance.
Yeah.
It did go the distance, and it wasn't quite the great fight everybody was hoping for.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a bit surprised John Kavanagh didn't call for a little bit more urgency from Walker. Are you?
Yeah, I think that was kind of the call that we were all waiting for. And Johnny Walker has given us that urgent style, that first round knockout, exciting, explosive style, pretty much every time he's gotten into the octagon, win or lose. And this time we were just waiting for it. It never really happened. Santos is not the kind of guy that you can just, go at with reckless abandon. So I understand why Johnny Walker didn't do that. So funny saying Johnny Walker. I feel like I'm messing it up and speaking about it.
I feel like I need a glass of scotch here. Yeah?
I know, but Johnny Walker, yeah. But it showed that he really respected Santos's power and didn't want to get caught with anything, because every time he did, Santos really made him pay for it. And I just feel like he and Santos both had so much to protect in this fight. He still wants to be a superstar. So he wants to keep winning, and that's the best way to become a superstar. He does the walkout. He's cool looking. He's athletic, 6'6". He's marketable. But he has to win, and the UFC knows that, and he knows that. And then Santos doesn't want to go on a 4-fight losing streak, and so he needs to get a win. So all the time we see these great fighters that it's like a dream matchup, and they're like, oh, matchmakers, they did the right thing. And this isn't the matchmaker's fault, but there's just so much on the line for both fighters, and it's a main event that it ends up laying an egg. And we wish for better, but I understand why this wasn't exactly the crazy show that maybe it would have been if it was lower on a card and both of them were on 2-fight win streaks.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the fact that both of them had a lot riding on this, as you said, Santos is on the doorstep of 40.
Yeah.
And if you're on the doorstep of 40 with a 4-fight losing streak, that's not a good place to be in the UFC.
Yeah.
We saw him fight John Jones, which doesn't seem that long ago, and that was a controversial split decision loss. Johnny Walker also realizes his marketability. He is still in his 20s, in his late 20s, so he realizes he's got a long future ahead of him. He's trying to not take too much damage, get in there, get the job done. To me, Johnny Walker almost reminds me, the way he's been performing lately, and certainly last night, reminds me of the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Yeah.
This porridge is too hot. We saw the too hot version of Johnny Walker, where he comes out with a reckless abandon and it costs him the fight. And then you have this porridge is too cold side of the coin, which is too gun shy, not afraid to do things, letting your opponent win rounds because you're not executing and being the sharper, faster fighter.
Right.
And what he needs to find is that porridge that's just right, the sweet spot in the middle. And I think John Kavanagh is a good coach to help him do that. Obviously, John Kavanagh knows how to take powerful strikers and turn them into champions.
For sure.
Just have a look at Conor McGregor. Johnny Walker just needs to find that delicate balance between not taking too much of his old self away, but not being too much of his old self to where he gets knocked out against some of these better opponents. Because if you get reckless across the cage from Jan Blachowicz, you're going to sleep. If you get reckless across the cage from Yuri Prochazka, you're going to sleep. And 205, which was a division that was ice cold when John Jones was the champion because he was so dominant and it was so stagnant, is red hot right now.
Right.
And he's got to clean some things up in his game. If he's going to he's got a top 10 rank. I think he is number 10.
Yeah.
Who knows where he'll fall after this loss. But if he wants to crack into that top 5 and look at fighting for a championship in the next couple of years, he's going to have to find that delicate balance with Kavanagh and with Owen Roddy and that team around him.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that he's at the right place. He kind of did some camp hopping and jumped from place to place and landed on SBG, and he likes those guys there. He meshes well. So I thought he looked really good. When you look at the first round, he was staying pretty long. He was doing a lot of feints, but he wasn't acting on the feints. And you see a lot of fighters do that. They are really good at getting their opponent to do something. And they obviously know how to read what their opponent's doing, but then they never act on it, or they don't act quick enough. And that leaves their opponent to defend or freeze for a second and then get back into their rhythm. And then after a while, when you're reading your opponent and you're not acting on it, they start to read you. And then they know when you're going to feint and when you're going to actually pull the trigger. And then it sort of started to seem like Johnny Walker didn't want to feint and pull the trigger right afterwards because he knew Santos had got his number and was going to crack him every time he came in with some sort of big move or, a power shot. So I think that if Johnny Walker would have come out a little bit more tenacious in the beginning and kind of pushed Santos back on his heels and had him fighting backwards the whole time like he did in the first round, but just a little bit more aggressive, and he would have carried that through the rest of the fight, we probably would have seen a finish. But Santos is just so tough. He's a veteran. He picks up on those reads very quickly, and then by the third round, he was landing some big shots. I'd say all the biggest shots of the fight were landed by Santos.
Yeah.
And, some of those body kicks were really nice. And Johnny Walker did get some shots off on his own, but after a certain while, he just stopped being that pop, explosive fighter.
Yeah.
And he just looked like he was down to show you all the cool things he knows how to do, but from a far distance away where he can't close the distance and land anything. So it was a little bit of a letdown, but I still enjoyed the fight. The card was really good. There was kind of a interesting main event, co-main event, and then everything under that. So I'm happy for it, but I think that they got this right in giving it to Santos.
Yeah, I think they definitely got it right too. And what surprised me was that not so much that Kavanaugh didn't call for more tenacity. I wish they would have done that. But why he didn't call, they kept calling for more kicks. Lead with the kicks, go with the kicks. And I'm just thinking to myself, you have a 6'6" fighter who's got an over 80 reach.
Crazy.
He's got, I think,
wingspan,
a 4 or 5, wingspan with a 4 or 5 inch reach differential compared to Santos. That's a big advantage he's got over his opponent. He's younger, he's faster, he can get the shots off quicker, he's longer. Why were they not calling for more jabs? I mean, I feel like sometimes the fundamentals just get overlooked for some strange reason, and it takes somebody like a Max Holloway coming out against Calvin Kattar to just show us that, hey, guess what? If you throw some 1s and 2s and some straight punches accurately, quickly, and well-timed, you can dominate an opponent.
Yeah.
You can win a fight. And we haven't seen somebody with an 80-plus inch wingspan in this division since really John Jones.
Right.
So Johnny Walker, I really feel like they missed the mark by not calling for more straight punches.
Yeah.
Straight punches would have won that fight for Johnny Walker, in my opinion.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, that push kick that he was doing was really impressive. He would fake some hands and then throw a really long push kick, and it seemed to, move Santos, who's a big fella, back pretty far. That was great, but then after a while, once you start to maybe pull that leg up a little bit and step down, you've closed the distance without having to actually throw the kick and compromise your balance. And then you can start to throw some 1s and 2s. Like you said, Max Holloway's a perfect example. You can break records by throwing 1s and 2s. I don't even remember if he was throwing mini hooks or uppercuts or anything like that. It was just pure straight boxing right down the pipe. And Johnny Walker has the wingspan, the ability to do that. But it seems like he was, feinting those uppercuts and feinting hooks and doing really good stuff with his hips, but not pulling the trigger, not closing the distance, not getting the job done. And you can look as good as you want when you're essentially shadow boxing from 6 feet away from somebody. But when it comes time to actually start to land in those exchanges, Santos was just getting the better of them. And I think that the judges saw it. We saw it. When the fight ended, I was like, I thought Johnny might be able to get it done, especially after the first round. But Santos did what he had to do. He showed a lot of experience and like that veteran grit, and was able to get the job done. I was impressed.
Yeah. Landed fewer shots, but the more devastating ones, no doubt.
Yeah, and the stats were pretty close. So when the judges don't have the stat sheets right in front of them, it's kind of hard for them to know, oh, he landed 11 shots in this round, and he landed 14. So it's hard to know that big of a difference. But when there's a big crowd reaction from a check hook or a big kick or something, that can usually push the judges. So sometimes quality over quantity will get you the win.
That's for sure. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Let us know in the comments, do you think the judges got this one right? Did Santos win the fight? And do you agree with Nick and I that Johnny Walker needs to find that delicate balance between being too aggressive and being too passive? Let us know. We always enjoy chatting with you guys there. And until the next video, guys, have a wonderful day.
Peace.